Welcome back, Cowboys Nation. Today is December 28th, Thursday, before the Dallas Cowboys take on the Detroit Lions this Saturday, the 30th. But before we talk about that, David and I are going to be recapping the potentially season-ending loss that the Dallas Cowboys just suffered at the hands of the Miami Dolphins. It's going to be a little bit different of an episode than what you guys are used to today. We're going to talk about that. We're going to try something new in terms of rather than trying to pull tweets from memory or just read off our phones, we're going to try to screen share. So if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see exactly what we're talking about, and we'll be able to give all the credit where it's due. And then we're going to talk about the Cowboys and Lions game this upcoming weekend that should hopefully be a fun one. Monday Night Football Saturday edition. Um, so just to get us started here, talking about the Cowboys and Dolphins game this past weekend. First of all, I do want to say thank you to the Dallas Cowboys for once not ruining our Thanksgiving this year, but instead choosing to ruin our Christmas. Not really sure if that was better, but unfortunately, that is the reality of the situation. And it was just a tough game. Um, Thankfully, we're not recording this on Sunday or Monday, even right after, maybe even Tuesday. I was still mad about it yesterday and even into like this morning.
I'm still mad.
I think I am too, to be honest. But we're gonna do the best that we can to not let our emotions take this over, or else we'll be on this podcast episode for 4 hours, and no one wants that, including us. So let's just get started here and talking about this game. But it was a frustrating game, just in all facets, especially with the Eagles edging out a heartbreaker, um, or a heartbreaker of a win for Cowboys fans over the Giants. Tommy DeVito got benched, so that seems to be the end of that. But at this point, it seems like we're staring down the barrel of pretty much we're going to have the same road that we had last year where we likely go to Tampa Bay in the wild card round, and then it's going to be a road gauntlet from there on out. And yeah, I don't really know how else to frame this. Maybe you might know better, but this is kind of a worst case scenario for a team that has double digit wins and is headed to the playoffs. This is pretty gloomy. I'll
Yeah,
just say that.
I would say we're probably the least hot team entering the playoffs where it current stands. Certainly doesn't help the narrative of we can't beat 500 teams, although the Seahawks, excuse me, and the Rams are now 500 teams, if not playoff teams now that we decimated. So who knows? But this game was weird. At first, it seemed like we were going to have a CeeDee Lamb game. And Burke, I'm not sure, we might have to do a hot audible if you could pull up the tweet in
Yeah.
which says the CeeDee Lamb stats. But I don't know why we started going away from CeeDee if they started blanketing him more. I'm not too sure. I'm not a film junkie, a film guru, but the casualness in me, yet the diehard in me is like, why didn't we just force feed him the ball when he had, I don't know, 98 yards and a touchdown inside the first quarter? So, yeah, this is perfect. And it kind of sums up the Dallas Cowboys. For the viewers that are listening, versus Miami, drives with a touch or target for CeeDee Lamb, 4 drives, 45 plays, 277 yards, and 17 points. And drives with no touch or target for CeeDee Lamb, 5 drives, 18 plays, 66 yards, and 3 points. So, great like there, Burke. Just really goes to show kind of he, to put a little look at it on a glass half full, our cover zero take from beginning in the year of, hey, we need CeeDee Lamb to really come out and show why he's 88 and be that alpha, he has done that. And it's safe
Right.
to say that right now he's an undisputed top 5 wide receiver in football. I don't care what your rankings are, but CeeDee Lamb is in that top 5. Obviously, as a Cowboys podcast, we're going to have him ranked a bit higher than most, but it just goes, I'm not really sure. It's almost been like our offense has just been so lackadaisical. It's people are going to look at it for face value, but I mean, yeah, we did score 20 points in a game where it really felt like we left points on the table. Obviously, that Tony Pollard run, something to be discussed. But man, we're doing this with shitty O-line play, probably the shittiest we've had since, I don't know, Zach Martin and Tyron Smith both went down that one year, and we played that. It was like a Hawaiian last name. I forget his name, and Connor Williams and McGovern when he was still on a rookie deal. So, I mean, this has been one of the worst offensive lines we've had in recent memory. More specifically, our tackle play when, more specifically, Tyron Smith isn't in the game. Chuma Idoga, I don't want him to play anymore, simply put. And I know that might be like very emotional of a decision, but I'd rather see our rookie Asim Richards get time. And, if Tyron's not playing, let's at least see what we got in house. And then Terrence Steele, I've been a believer in him, but there's also a stat, if Burke can pull it up, about Terrence Steele here, where he is kind of the Cowboys players that we've been very hard on, but it's for good reason. He is a Jekyll and Hyde Cowboy player. He is a player that seems to hold his own and do well against lesser opponents. And when crunch time happens and against better teams, yeah, here's the stat. Terrence Steele has allowed 49 pressures this season. 35 of them have come against over 500 teams, allowing 6 sacks and 6 quarterback hits in 320 pass snaps. Given it's against Bosa, who is the other? Hassan Reddick, and I don't know if it was Chubb or Van Ginkel or both, but I mean, it's the Michael Gallup arc for him right now, and it's sad to say, but it's pretty brutal. And I really hate it because who doesn't deserve this is 4. And obviously this is a pro 4 podcast, but he's been doing and playing like an MVP. Oh my God. Yeah, this stat.
I just had to pull it up
Chuma,
while you were talking.
yeah,
It's so brutal.
Chuma Idoga gave up 5 pressures with a 58 pass blocking grade and still graded higher than Terrence Steele in every category somehow. So shout out to Defy Talks Cowboys. I would argue he's probably the focal point of Cowboys Twitter right now. Guys on his shit, but 4's been doing this with no run game, no offensive line help, bipolar Brandon Cooks, who only seems to produce at home, and Michael Gallup, who is a slant play away from a pick 6, and just like it's unbelievable that we're in the playoffs right now, and it's the most disheartened I've been all season right now. And given we just lost back-to-back games to, of course, playoff caliber teams in the AFC, but man, there's not a lot to be excited about right now, unless you're a CeeDee Lamb fantasy football owner. But it's just, I don't know what's going on with us right now. It's kind of what we've already touched on this, and I'm sorry to be talking for this whole 11 minutes here, but it's the all bark, no bite. That's just the Band-Aid I want to put on all of this is whether it's our vocal leaders on defense, whether it's us using the excuse Micah hasn't had a holding call in 39 quarters, which is fucking ridiculous. I just want to point that out there. But it's just all bark, no bite. And we've had the same glaring issues, and it just sucks. No linebackers, no support on the offensive line, no depth. maybe we need a short yard running back. Oh, Hunter Lipke could do it. Clearly not. Clearly that fucking blew up in our face. And it's just like, what? Tolbert's gonna make a catch. CD's gonna do his thing, but where else is our help? Ferg was nothing. Hooks was nothing, like besides the catch, touchdown catch, which is a dot by 4. But it's 4 against the world right now, it seems like in our offense. And it seems like we win games and lose games depending on if Dak Prescott has an ungodly performance. And that's not how a 10-win team should be. People would be quick to argue, oh, Lamar's this, Lamar's that. Dak has better stats than Lamar in every category. And fun fact for the viewers out there, Lamar's defense have allowed 20 touchdowns all season. The Cowboys defense has allowed 20 touchdowns since week 13. It's where this is unprecedented Dan Quinn play right now. And it's just, I mean, football's the definition of a team sport right here, and it seems like one side of the ball's checked out, and I really don't have words for Dan Quinn anymore. I really don't. And to answer the question that will probably be asked by Burke later, David, what's your panic meter on the Dallas Cowboys defense right now? It's a fucking 11. It's 11 right now. I'm ringing the bells. I have the air raid sirens going right now. I'm nervous as shit, and it shouldn't be this way with the talent that we have. We've had glaring holes on our defense for God knows how long. Well, this whole offseason was, what linebacker are we going to get? You know what we got instead? A converted safety who's done pretty damn well, and Damone Clark, who is either average or horrible. There's no in between. And I'm sorry that I'm ragdolling Damone Clark and going on a rant here, but I feel bad for him because he's getting held. But at the same time, it's like, get the fuck off the block. Like, get off the block. You're a linebacker. You go against Tyler Smith and Zach Martin, practice every single day. You should be able to get off blocks, or at least be able to sell a hold more if you go against these type of players who are probably all pro, if not Pro Bowl players. So, I mean, it just sucks, man. And like, I'm disappointed, and just a little foreshadowing here. I'm nervous because we're going against a Dan Campbell offense and a Dan Campbell Lions team who, what's their culture? Physicality. That's their culture. And what's been our bane of our existence is getting punched in the mouth. And so thank you for my TED Talk, Burke. I'll flip the coin to you. But yeah, I am I'm in a weird spot right now for having 10 wins.
Yeah. Yeah. And thank you for saying all of those things and getting us started on that note. And I, as I said when we opened, am very glad that we didn't record this on Sunday evening or Monday, one, because I was sick and I didn't really have a voice, but two, because my attitude about this team and where we're headed is, and it still is really bad. And I'm very down on this team right now. I just want to make that clear. But the harsh reality of the situation and why I think that taking this loss hurts so much more is because all season, people have been talking about the Cowboys and the Dolphins were kind of like a mirror of each other in different conferences where they have these high flying offenses and very solid defenses that can be great at times, but both teams struggle to beat teams that are over 500. And the reality of the situation is that the Cowboys this year have beaten two teams who at the time had 500 or better records, which was the Philadelphia Eagles and the Seattle Seahawks. And obviously the Rams now are a team that's over 500, but they weren't when we played them. And we had a really, really good opportunity to at least quiet down a narrative that has been going around about this team, and we were just unable to do it. And that's really what hurts a lot. And this is, if anyone in my family is listening to this, obviously after that game, I was calling this team frauds because as of right now, I don't really see a way that they're not. And we'll talk more about this Lions game, which is a game that, spoiler alert, but it's a game that I do believe that the Cowboys can win. and a lot of that has to do with the fact that we are at home. But I thought that eventually that this team would wake up and realize, hey, we're still a damn good football team even when we're playing on the road. But the reality of the situation is that we're entering week 17 and we have not figured out how to win a meaningful road game. Our road wins this year are what? Carolina, New York, Giants, and
Jets.
no, Jets was home. What was our other? Oh, someone bad. Someone bad. Other road win. Carolina, Giants, lost at the Cardinals.
Chargers?
Yes, Chargers. Yeah, which I mean that's AT&T West, so basically another home game. but but this team can't win on the road, and that's just the harsh reality of the situation and why I'm so bleak on the outlook for this team right now. We have a glaring need, which is that this team, there are differences between the home and the road splits. We've talked about them on this pod, but we've kind of brushed it off as something that we weren't concerned about. But the harsh reality of the current situation is that it is officially a problem. I don't know why we can't figure it out. And this is the complete inverse of all those old Romo teams that like the 2016 Cowboys, I think it was, when we went into Seattle and we beat the Seahawks with the Terrence Williams toe tap catch that was the 2014 Cowboys, not 16. 16 was Dak and Zeke's rookie year, but the 2014 Cowboys where they were a mediocre team at home and they were this road warrior team that was undefeated on the road all season, went up to Seattle where Russell Wilson had only lost like 2 or 3 times in his entire career, and we were an obviously a Dez missed no call that we'll still never forget about or ever live down. Hashtag never forget. Blown call away from what we think is going to Seattle, winning again, making it to the Super Bowl, and then who knows what happens. Maybe we're not as bitter that this current team can't win on the road, but it's a problem. We can't win games on the road, and for a team that, as of right now, we're gonna have 4 road games in the playoffs. It's just hard to get excited. Like it's kind of the same deal as last year. Like, okay, big deal. We have a wild card game against an inferior Tampa Bay team. Maybe hopefully we figure it out for one game. We probably look awesome. And then what? We have to go to Philadelphia, who we're capable of beating, but who knows? Or we go to San Francisco and a team that owns us both physically and mentally. It's just really hard to be optimistic right now. It really is. And watching this game, it just felt like a game where we were never in control. The first 2 drives of this game were awesome. The first drive, um, the Tony Pollard play, I don't even want to begin talking about it because it's inexcusable and it's terrible. And as of right now, and this shouldn't be much of a hot take, but Tony Pollard will not be a Dallas Cowboy next year. He's an impending free agent. Um, I don't blame Hunter Lipke as much for the situation as I do the coaching staff and as much as I blame Tony Pollard. The reason why Lipke even got in the game right there after he had some big carries earlier on the drive is because we have known all season that we don't have a good short yardage back. We are missing literally Ezekiel Elliott is who we're missing right now. We're missing Zeke. Like I never thought that we were going to say it, but we miss Zeke right now. That's just the reality of the situation. Zeke scores on that play. I think you and I can both agree. I think any Cowboys fan who's watched the Cowboys for the last 7 years while 21 was in the backfield knows that he's scoring on that play. Pollard, I don't know if it's he doesn't trust his leg and didn't think he could beat him to the outside. I don't know why he tried to cut it back in and how he had 90% of his body across the goal line, but somehow his arms with the football didn't make it. It's just an inexcusable play. It's sad, and I understand turning to Hunter Lipke in that situation because he had some big conversions, big short yardage plays earlier on that drive. And The fact is, he showed in the preseason that he can handle those short yardage reps, but the fact that he's getting his first meaningful game action on the first drive of a must-win road game against a playoff team, and it's on the opening drive of the game, and these are the first meaningful touches he's getting all season. That's on the coaching staff. Like, why is he not getting these, introductory carries? Why is he not getting these in week 3 and week 4 and week 7 even? Like, why is he not getting these carries earlier in the season? Because I mean, he's a rookie. It's a rookie mistake. It's whatever. But if we're giving him the opportunities that he should have had earlier this season, then if he's gonna fumble at some point, he probably gets out of his system early in a game where it ultimately doesn't matter. So that's my thing on that. CeeDee Lamb was involved, and I'll try to speed things up here because I'm getting long here. But CeeDee Lamb was involved on the first 2 drives. Good things happen. CeeDee Lamb disappears for 2 quarters. Bad things happen. Shocker. When you don't give your best player the football and pretty much the entire focal point of your football team, bad things happen. Like David said, CeeDee Lamb is a top 5 receiver in the National Football League. He has more than proven that this year. You can dispute we Dave and I would probably say he's top 3 right now. You can dispute that, say he's top 5. Don't really care. Bottom line is he is that guy. He is that dude. He is 88. Why are you not giving him the football, Mike McCarthy? Why are you turning into Kellen Moore and you're trying to do weird stuff and scheme plays for Peyton Hendershot and Jalen Tolbert? Like, I mean, shout out to Jalen Tolbert making an awesome catch, and really proving that Dave and I were right again, and that he needs to be the wide receiver 3 on this team going forward. But that's another point that we won't get into. But why are you not scheming plays to give your best player the football? It just makes no sense. I don't get it. Um, I have a lot of frustrations. That's my main thing on offense is just it's on the coaching that we didn't give CeeDee the football, that we forced Hunter Lipke into meaningful action as a rookie against a playoff team on the road in a big situation. And Tony Pollard, I've been trying to remain optimistic on the running game getting going all season, but I I'm out on the Cowboys figuring out the run game at this point. I just don't see it happening. That's pretty much all I got for now, just in terms of the offense. I'll kick it back over to you because I just went on a little rant. But yeah,
I mean, I think this is I mean, I don't really want to spend more time on this. I've already kind of said my part on the defense, but Burke, if you could pull up the stats that I kind of tweeted at you. Uh this defense has completely done a 180, and
hmm
every single person on this defense is responsible. Um it's just
let me pull it
I
up.
don't I'm running out of words right now because it's just frauds. It is just frauds. Just frauds. We've given up 20 touchdowns since our bye. We've been a bottom 3 team in every single metric, every single defensive metric we've been a bottom team in. Whether it's success rate, whether it's pass rush, whether you name it, we have been a bottom team.
There it is.
Yeah,
Sorry, I had to find
27th,
it.
yeah, 27th in EPA per play, 30th in success rate, 29th in drop back EPA, 30th in drop back success rate, 20th in rush EPA, 30th in rush success rate. This is we've just turned into a horrible defense. And you know what? Watching that Ravens 49ers game, it's kind of clear where the defense and the great defenses are built from. And you know what that is? It's the 2 guys who are in the middle of the field where that wear number 54 and 57 for San Francisco and wear
hmm
number 0 and 6 for Baltimore. And it's through the linebackers. And you know what? It sucks because I think Agent Zero Overshawn could have really, really might have won Rookie of the Year on this defense, and kind of just seeing what we've seen through camp and preseason, and that sucks. But we need to bring someone in. Mark Ron Curse is an impending free agent, and Burke kicked the tires on Tony Pollard. but I'll kick the tires on Jaron Curse, who had a whopping 29 PFF grade, 29 in coverage, 44 in the run, 0 stops, 4 for 4 receptions, allowed 59 yards and a touchdown. Man, for a guy who is vocal, very vocal on Twitter, very vocal about the impact that he has,
Oh, and then
gets
this underneath it.
yeah, against tight ends, whatever you name it. He played, if you include every defensive player in football this week, he was the 4th lowest graded one among 478 defensive players to play a couple snaps.
And the
I
lowest
mean,
graded safety in the league this week.
it's
It's
just
insane.
like, and we've kind of been early on this where it's like he's just slow, unathletic, and it looks like he's checked out. He's kind of the reason why we're all bark no bite. We see him do these pregame things and pregame speeches and this, that, and the other thing, and it's just brutal. It's brutal, and it's even more brutal being like kind of what you said about Lipke and kind of guys behind Tony P in the goal line. It's like we know we have players. We know we have John Wayne Thomas. We know we have Izzy McQuamu. We know we have guys in the back end that are nipping at the heel wanting to get snaps, and we're being loyal to our guys. And you know what? I love that. But it's at some point you got to be like, are we going to be loyal to them and sync with the ship, or are we going to try to steer us in the right direction here? And I mean, he's just a liability. He's not good anymore, and it sucks. And he was such a great free agent pickup, bargain bin hunter, and now it just seems like he's lost. Whether it's an injury related, whether it's age related, he just doesn't look right, and our defense sucks now. And like we could preach all we want. Oh, Hankins is gone, whatever, but it's just like a nose guard doesn't impact the way that we were getting gashed. And it's like Jalen Waddle catches the ball 50 yards downfield and the nearest defender's 8 yards behind him. It's just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So that's about it I got from this defense. Quite honest, I want to stop talking about this Miami game. So I think this could be the last part I talk about the Miami game.
Yeah, yeah. One thing that I wanted to touch upon, and it's something that that you just mentioned that maybe want to bring this up, but the term staying loyal to your guys. When you talk about it in a real life sense that doesn't have to deal with winning football games, it's awesome. Loyalty, like that's sick. Um, that's really awesome. But when you're a football team that's trying to win a Super Bowl, being loyal to your guys is going to kill you. And right now we're seeing it with a couple guys on both sides of the ball. We're seeing it with Michael Gallup. We're seeing it with arguably Terrence Steele on offense. On defense, we're seeing it with Jaron Curse, Donovan Wilson. Who else? Who else sucks? I mean,
You were seeing it with Hendershot for no damn fucking reason either.
Hendershot, yeah,
I
said that.
year.
Yeah. I said after Hendershot's drop, I would have texted in the chat. I said Hendershot's gonna get caught.
Yeah, he should, because he hasn't done anything.
And he's had a couple dumb penalties too. Just can't be doing that. But being loyal to your guys in the NFL when they're not performing well and you have young talent behind them, I don't know what it is. And as a Washington Capitals fan, this reminds me of like Peter Laviolette last year and years past, not wanting to play young guys for whatever reason. And I'm starting to get like PTSD flashbacks to watching that because we have guys who are better behind our incumbent starters right now. Michael Gallup, your solution is in house with Jalen Tolbert. Donovan Wilson and Jaron Curse, your solutions are in house with Wanya Thomas and Israel Izzy McQuamu. Jesus, totally brain farted there. Yeah, I know. Peyton Hendershot, you have. I mean, he's a third string tight end, replaceable. We're nitpicking when we say him. Terrence Steele, literally any tackle that breathes on planet Earth. That's your replacement. Asim Richards, Matt Waletzko, who's you know, coming back this week. Let's go. The return in the Amari Cooper trade, who's definitely not going off for the Browns or anything. If you're unaware, don't look up his box score from this past weekend, or you might cry. But yeah, that's pretty much all I want to say about that. Just staying loyal to your guys is I mean, it's killing this team right now. We have two of our three safeties are just literally unplayable. Our other safety is we've been saying it for a couple weeks now, and he had another great performance. This weekend, Malik Hooker continues to just be at this point, he's probably the most underrated player on our entire team. He's been so good. And I'm just gonna pull it up here so we can give you guys just some context for how good he truly has been. Um, and this was one that you sent me. Another tweet from our guy Defy, but it's that Malik Hooker leads all safeties in coverage snaps per targets at 42 and a half, while playing the fifth most snaps at free safety, 632 in the entire NFL. So just again, credit to Malik Hooker. We've been saying it for a couple weeks now. Again, we're on this stuff early. We believe it or not, Dave and I and Stu, when he's here, believe it or not, we actually know this football team pretty well. And it's not hard to tell when you have a guy like Malik Hooker who's making plays, and you have a guy or two guys like Donovan Wilson and Ron Curse who are just like the third man in of a dog pile tackle and just do nothing. So it's tough. We have solutions in house. The higher ups are refusing to see it for whatever reason, but I'm on the same page with you. I don't want to keep talking about this game because it's really frustrating, and we still got to talk about this Detroit game. So with that being said, let's wrap up with this. Let's do. I don't even want to do good, bad, and ugly just because it's been a couple days now. It's frustrating. There's no point in harping on that. What I want to do, what I think will be more beneficial for us, is um, panic level with the offense, defense, and with the coaching staff as a whole. Um, I guess just whether it's for right now or where we stand going into playoffs. I just want to know where you think we stand and our panic meter. So I'll let you start. David, what is your panic meter for our offense?
It's a 5. I already said it. We're gonna have to win and lose games with number 4, and it's pretty evident. I've already said my defensive panic meter, and I'm not exaggerating. It's an 11. I am deathly afraid. Dan Quinn. It seems like he's the old guard of coaches that are hanging on by a ball hair because he has a lot of elite defensive talent at his disposal. Yeah, his scheme has been off, his alignment has been off, and like fundamentally our defense has looked off, and it's not doing the little things. And so I'm an 11 because honestly, I like going into the year, I never thought I would say this, but I'm losing faith in Dan Quinn. And the coaching staff's hard because I'm still holding out hope for Mike McCarthy. I've lost complete faith in Dan Quinn, and I'm holding out faith in Mike McCarthy. Still love our special teams, so I guess it'll edge me in the way of still in on the coaching staff. So I'll say coaching staff, I'm 4.5 out of 10. I would say panic meter because Mike McCarthy and our special teams, 66% of the game right there. I'm still hopeful on.
Fair, fair. Yeah, um, I think my numbers are going to be a little similar. My offense, I'm gonna say honestly, right now it's at like a 3. And the reason why I say that, I know I just I just went on, a long rant, as did Spanky, and so this number might be a little bit confusing. Um, it was a road game at the end of the day. I don't know what that mental roadblock is that we can't get over right now, that we don't perform up to the standard that we do at home offensively, but if we struggle this week at home offensively against the Lions, then it's time to potentially um, sound the alarm in terms of our offense. But again, just we're a bad road team all around. Offense is a part of that. So overall, it's out of three. Whatever this issue is, where we just don't perform on the road, maybe we'll figure it out. Probably won't. I don't know, but I'm gonna say a 3 out of 10 because the real concern, and I'm actually going to one up you right now, Spanky. My concern for our defense is a 12 out of 10. This unit is bad. There's just no other way to say it right now. It felt like outside of the first two drives this past weekend, it felt like the whole time like I never had a comfortable feeling. It was just feeling the entire game of okay, Miami is one big play, they're one bomb to Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle away from like breaking this game open, and this is getting ugly. Or they're one broken tackle and big run by Raheem Mostert or Devon Achane away from just really making this game ugly. The pass rush isn't there right now. The run defense continues to be an issue. Um, just and certain alignments and must-have situations like the third down play, where everyone in the stadium probably knew that Tyreek Hill was getting the football on 3rd and 3 near midfield, and of course they picks it up no problem because we only have one guy pressing on the line, and they had multiple guys over there. Don't really know what we're doing. But I mean, it was the most obvious play in the entire world. Didn't see it. Dan Quinn is having issues making in-game adjustments right now, and it's really frustrating. And as of right now, with the way that this defense is playing, this weekend could get ugly. And in terms of how it bodes for just the future outside of the Washington game, just with the postseason and moving forward. Pretty much since the Seattle game, this defense has basically said, "Hey, um, we're not the same unit, Dak. We need you to have a great game. Come bail us out, and win us this game." And as of right now, and this is just a big picture correlation and connection, but basically my thought right now, and I think Spanky echoes this as well, is that the only way that the Dallas Cowboys can make a Super Bowl run is if Dak Prescott has a superhuman run throughout the postseason. And it's frustrating because I mean, being able to string together 4 brilliant games where you're not getting a ton of help from your defense, it's going to be tough. But unfortunately, with the state of our defense, that's pretty much where we're at right now. So I'm going to say 12 out of 10. And coaches overall, outside of Dan Quinn, who I don't think will be with the Cowboys next year, whether it's we just mutually part ways or whether he takes another coordinator job or gets I mean, he'll probably get a head coaching job somewhere. I don't think it'll be as big of a loss as we would have thought it would be in earlier this season. So, coaches overall, I'll say like a 3 out of 10. Not that much of a concern, but unless you have anything else to add on the crap show that was the Miami Dolphins game, I think we should move on to Detroit.
Yeah. Yeah. Move on. I'm done talking about that.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, second half here. Okay. So we're obviously done talking about the Cowboys and Lions game, or sorry, Cowboys and Dolphins game. We're now going to preview and discuss the Cowboys and Lions game, Monday Night Football Saturday edition. Something that I don't know about you, but in like the past couple of years when I found out that this was a thing, I've always thought it is like the stupidest thing ever. Like Monday Night Football Saturday edition. Like why don't you just call it like Saturday Night Football? I've never understood it. But um college football playoff is on Monday, so makes sense why this game got moved out of a standalone Monday night game. So this one should be interesting. I'll just start with that. And I don't know if you saw the injury reports. If not, I can run through it real quick.
Yeah, just run
But
through it.
okay, so for the Cowboys, notable injury right now is Rico Dowdle is going to be out um, versus the Lions on Saturday night. So that's something to obviously watch out for. Um, where our run game that has already been struggling is probably going to struggle even more. Um, so that sucks. Let's see what else. Tyron Smith is questionable. Where's the rest of the report here? Um, sorry, I thought I had it pulled up. Already alluded to it earlier, but thank God Matt Waletzko is back off of IR this week. Probably the in-season addition that Jerry was waiting for, and why we didn't feel the need to trade for a tackle at the deadline, despite one being incompetent and the other one having a lot of issues. This is our huge trade deadline acquisition is Matt Waletzko, who if you're unfamiliar with this name, this was the guy that we drafted with the compensatory pick that we traded Amari Cooper to the Browns for. So, one, or we got a backup tackle, and they got a bona fide wide receiver one who's probably been close to a top 10 receiver in football this year, and just had a 200-yard game this past weekend instead of Browns franchise record. So it sounds like a pretty even trade to me. So Rico Dowdle out, Tyron Smith questionable, Matt Waletzko back. Jonathan Hankins will also be out for this game. Chuma Edoga, as of right now, was a full participant, so that's basically a handicap at this point. Um, and that's pretty much it for IR. Malik Hooker was fully healthy. Hunter Lipke fully healthy. Everyone else seems to be fully healthy. Um, so just really have to watch out for Tyron Smith. But um, for the Lions, they will not have James Houston, who's one of their solid edge rushers. They're not also missing their backup tight end, Brock Wright. Not really a major name there. But this is a big name and one that Cowboys fans should know well. CJ Gardner Johnson, their safety and one of their big free agent acquisitions, aka CD Deuce. He will be out for this game. He had a injury earlier this season, maybe halfway through the season, and he's still working his way back from that. He was shooting to be back this week, but fortunately for the Cowboys, he will not be suiting up this week. So that's pretty much it for the offense. Now, moving to just this game overall. This was a game that if you asked me 3 weeks ago about this game, I would have said this game is going to be awesome, and I'm super, super excited for it. As of right now, I'm praying that it doesn't get ugly. And unfortunately, that's just the situation that this team has put us in. But we're at home. So if there's a bright side, this team rocks at home, sucks on the road. We're at home. So what do you think?
Yeah, I really think oh man, this is going to be a game. Detroit doesn't have a great defense yet. They have Aiden Hutchinson, who I had a very bad, very incorrect take about not too long ago. But I really expect this to be a Dak CD for a game. And if you really watch and look at the stats on Detroit on good wide receivers and Detroit in the pass game in general, they kind of appear to be Swiss cheese. Their defense really isn't there. They're, especially with such a big part of it in Gardner Johnson out. I really expect this to be a very heavy pass game for Dallas, a very heavy, hey, we need to give the fans something to cheer about, and hey, we need to get right. This is the last chance of a get right game this season. Next week, there literally means pretty much fuck all. It's probably, we're going to use next week as a glorified bye week. I don't expect many starters to play next week, and so this is the last opportunity most of our starters will have until playoffs. And so I really expect it to be a Dak game. I'm running out of words here to describe our offense other than Dak, CD, Ferg. We are going to go as far as they carry us. And that's about it. Detroit Lions, bad matchup for those three. God forbid we have to see Tony Pollard run the ball in between the tackles. That's when they might get us. They also might get us when we throw slants to Michael Gallup, who's a walking pick six merchant. But yeah, I really expect it to be a Dak game, a big game for CD. Expect early double coverage for CD. So hopefully Mike realizes that, and is able to scheme him open. But I really do see it being a big game for 4-88. Their linebackers are good. They have Jack Campbell and Anzalone, I believe his name is.
Yep.
Good, high IQ, sneaky athletic linebackers. But
Quick.
yeah, that was a joke. Yeah.
Lunch pail
Sneaky
guy.
quick.
First one in, last one out. Teammates voted Anzalone captain. I mean, it just
you want to bring home to the parents, and
film junkie.
Yeah, and but other than that, Jack Campbell's a rookie. That's let's pick on him a little bit. Not great in pass coverage. Anzalone, journeyman, not good in pass coverage. Let's play Dallas Cowboys 2023 football and fucking pass it. I wish we could say let's run the rock and let's control the clock, and that's just not us anymore. We got to turn the page, like Burke said. I'm out on our run game. I'm 100% out. If we haven't seen it by week 16, week 15, it's probably not going to happen, people. So just gear up. I expect this to be very, very high scoring. Very, very high scoring. But yeah, Dak, CD, Ferg game. Maybe sprinkle a couple Brandon Cooks in there.
Yeah. I mean, I really like that point that you made, and sorry for kind of passing it to you there for a second. I had a total coughing attack. I don't know what happened, but I'm gonna try to not say too many words here so I don't get attacked by the cough bug again. But the sad reality of the Dallas Cowboys offense right now is that this team, especially offensively, will go as far as 4-88 and 87 take us. 20-3. Tony Pollard and Brandon Cooks will be in there contributing here and there, but this offense revolves around Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, and as of right now, that's pretty much all we can rely on. Out on the run game. Oh, look who it is. There he is. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? Clean shaven. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, recurring guest Clayton Stewart, to the podcast.
How y'all doing?
Doing good. We actually just began our Detroit Lions preview. We talked a lot about the Dolphins game. So the mood is kind of a little bit down right now after talking about that, but we're trying to be optimistic about this Dallas Cowboys offense right now. But and I guess this is a good question for you, just because I was kind of running out of things to say. But what are your thoughts on how the Dallas Cowboys line up against the Lions this weekend?
Let's see. Offensively, I think we line up great. I don't know if y'all talked about it. You probably did. It seems like it all depends on if Tyron Smith plays or not. With Aiden Hutchinson on that line, he's the real deal. He's freaking good. I think we line up great against them offensively. We could take some shots. I want to say we could run the ball against that defense because it's not a good defense. But, I don't think we can, but I want to say we can, But again, it all depends on if Tyron Smith can play or not. We always talk about, I was just saying before I got on here, we always talk about the left tackle for 49ers, how much he impacts their game. It seems like he's on the same boat as Tyron. If he doesn't play, if Tyron Smith doesn't play for us, are we even a playoff team? If he doesn't play 17 games, he makes us that much better. He's that big of an impact for us. I don't even think we're a playoff team. And so if he plays, we are a good freaking football team. If he doesn't, I don't think we can go very far, if at all. I've been telling y'all. I know I'm jumping the boat a little bit for going in the playoffs, but if he doesn't play, I mean that's just we're one and done. He makes that big of a difference. So lining up against the Lions, if he plays, we win the football game. If he doesn't play, we lose the football game.
I like that. I like that. Yeah. Spanky and I, a lot of what we were talking about, just specifically in terms of the offense, not really focusing as much on the line, which is why I'm glad that you said that, was that. And Spanky and I were in unison with this, and it kind of sounds like you're sort of on the same wavelength, is that um, unless they somehow miraculously show me otherwise, I'm out on our run game. I think we just have to accept the reality that the way that we're going to win football games is that Dak has to be Superman and CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson have to be open and be huge, and Pollard and Cooks can chip in every now and then, but that's just the reality of the Dallas Cowboys for this season. Like, gone are the days of, striving for an even balance where we can try to run it 25, 30 times and kill clock. Like, the way that we're going to win football games, it feels almost like we're becoming like a old school Big 12 team or like a Pac-12 team where we literally just say, hey, we have a sick quarterback, we have a sick receiver, and we have an awesome tight end. Let's just throw the rock 30 to 40 times and hope that our defense is just bend, don't break, and that we can just win in a shootout. That seems to be the only
I love
way
that analogy. My question, real quick, is: are y'all out on our run game as a whole, or are you out on Pollard?
As a whole.
I mean, as a whole.
Our
So you're out
offensive-
on Dowdle
I
as
think
well.
both.
Like you think it's that? You think it's the O line?
I'm out on the offensive line run blocking abilities and our running backs as a whole.
Okay.
Not to mention Stu. I don't know if you saw Dowdle's out. Malik Davis, we would have to activate. We'd have to cut someone to bring him back up. So the running backs for this week are Tony Pollard, Hunter Lipke, and Deuce the Loose Vaughn. So those are our only 3 running backs this week.
Yeah, I didn't see
God.
Dowdle was out. I just now saw our news update. No Dowdle. I want to say I'm not out on the run game as a whole yet, and I know we're 15 weeks in, and I should be. I'm going to give us one more chance. If you can't run the ball against this defense, then yeah, there should be no way you should even give Pollard 10 handoffs a game. I'm still a Pollard. Like I said earlier in the year, I didn't like Pollard. I'm not a fan of Pollard. I like Pollard in our pass game. Give him 5 to 10 catches a game and at least give him the opportunity to catch the ball in space. But yeah, I'm totally out on him as a running back, as he has 2 more games and however many games he play in the playoffs left as Dallas Cowboy, because he will not be back next year. And if he is, that'd be the worst situation of all time.
Yeah, it's funny that you said that, because when we were talking about the Cowboys and Dolphins game, that was one of the things I said. I said, yeah, Tony Pollard will not be a Dallas Cowboy next year, as neither will Javon Curse, and potentially
Jeez,
potentially Donovan Wilson, hopefully Michael Gallup,
Hendershot.
yeah, Hendershot. Maybe Steele if we somehow put an
Jordan Lewis
opt-out
is
in
a
his
free
contract.
agent.
Yeah,
Jordan Lewis is a free agent.
Dude,
yeah.
I was gonna ask about him. Like he's been tackling really well, and I mean, against Tyreek Hill, they put him in the slot a lot. He held his zone for the majority of the game, in my opinion. I thought he did not play bad.
He's been playing well the last few weeks. Like
I would say last 2 or 3 weeks.
Ever since he got destroyed on that first drive against Philadelphia when we went to Philly, he's been a lot better ever since then. He's been playing good football, and it's good for us that he is, because we've actually needed him like a lot. especially with
100%.
Diggs being out. So
Mm-hmm.
it's good that we didn't cut him. I know when we did our roster predictions way back, I think I wasn't the only one who thought that he was going to be cut in the preseason or traded. So it's a good thing that we held on to him. But yeah, it's just like this Lions defense isn't good. And I do believe that our offense is going to score a lot of points. And like Spanky said, I think it's going to be a big game for 88. But I just don't see a way that this game isn't just a shootout overall. I mean, I think it's going to be a lot of points because that Lions offense is dangerous. They have a ton of weapons. They can put points up in a hurry and on anyone. And especially with the way that our defense is playing right now, which we'll get into in a second, I just don't see a way that this game it's not a shootout. But I guess before we jump over to the other side, I want to get y'all's predictions. I know that we're all down on this team right now, but we have to we got to do it. It's our weekly thing. We got to pick our killer of the week. So I'll let you guys decide. I'll let you guys duke it out. Whoever wants to go first with their killer.
Stu, you go.
Shoot. So I guess I'm not gonna be able to stay super long. I won't be able to give like my hot take, my cover zero take of the week. My cover zero take is gonna be CeeDee Lamb breaks a single season franchise record this week.
Oh,
Receiving wise. So mine is gonna be CeeDee Lamb. I think he's gonna have to ball out, and he will ball out.
I love it. Okay,
I'm gonna,
love
yeah,
that.
that was mine, so I'm gonna quick audible in my head right now. For fantasy football championship purposes, and for me saying we turned a corner, number 87, Jake Berg. I guess I'll spoil my take right now. I really see him getting about probably 5 receptions for, I want to say in between 50 and 70 yards and a touchdown. I really see him maybe in the red zone touchdown, but maybe in like on the 20, and he has some shows of that rack ability and finds a way in the end zone. But I see him getting a lot more touches, maybe utilized on the screens more that we use him with Seattle. But I really see Ferg getting some action.
Okay. All right. Well, that takes the two obvious choices off the board for me here. So that just means I'm gonna have to take the only other obvious one that we have left and still believe in, which is
Deuce
God,
Vaughn?
it's yeah. Deuce Vaughn. No, it's I mean, this is pretty obvious. This has a Peyton Hendershot game written all over it. No,
Shoemaker,
I'm just
2
joking.
touchdowns.
Yeah, Shoemaker, Lipke, Hendershot, 1 touchdown apiece. Spread the rock around.
Jalen Brooks.
Deuce Vaughn, 35 carries, 240 yards, and 3 touchdowns this week. We score 78 points. No, I'm just joking. Okay. The only one left, as we said earlier, this Cowboys offense right now, it goes with the three musketeers of Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Jake Ferguson. And due to the two pass catchers being taken by my colleagues here, I'm going to take Dak Prescott. The reality of the situation, as we've said, and with where the state of our run game is, and for his sake, I really hope that we get Tyron Smith this week. And I know that it won't happen because we refuse to move Tyler Smith off left guard, even though he's performed well in spot starts as a tackle and could get Richards in there at guard or literally anyone else with a pulse, just to get Edoga. Even literally swapping Edoga and Tyler Smith could even work. There's a lot of solutions that it doesn't seem like we're trying right now. So for Dak's sake, I hope that he's still alive after this game because he's probably going to get hit a lot. But I do predict that this is in recent or in similar fashion to recent weeks. This is going to be gosh, I can't speak now. A big Dak Prescott game, and I'm gonna say I said 275 and 3 touchdowns last week, and it was too much. I'll say he goes for a solid 250 and 2 touchdowns through the air and adds a rushing touchdown this week. Again, our season, I mean, this is a playoff tune-up game basically. And our season is going to be won and lost pretty much by the right arm and the legs of Rand Dakota Prescott. So Dak's going to put on for the city this week. 253 touchdowns, 2 passing, 1 rushing. Book it. Okay.
Love it.
Moving over to the defense. Real quick, Stu, how much time you got?
Like 10 minutes. I'm still good.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so moving over to the defense. I'll just start out by saying, I already kind of alluded to this earlier, but I am terrified of our defense going against this offense. This Lions offense is gross. I don't really have a better way of saying it, and I mean gross in a very good way. Jared Goff is playing at a Pro Bowl level. He's been a top 10 quarterback in football this year. They have 2 awesome running backs in David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. They have a slew of weapons, including Sam Laporta, their stud rookie tight end out of Iowa, Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's awesome. They have maybe the second best offensive line in football behind the Eagles, or maybe even better than the Eagles. They have Jameson Williams out of Alabama, who's a first-round pick last season, has absolute wheels, can fly. So this Lions offense, very dangerous. They can score points in a hurry. Their offensive coordinator is going to be a very, very wealthy head coach somewhere in this league next year, and Ben Johnson. So I don't know how to stop this offense right now. I really don't. Especially with the way that this defense is playing. There's just no other way for me to lead this off and kind of open it for you guys than to just say that I am terrified this week of the numbers that their offense is going to put up.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair, but I have 2 words for you that might not be why we stop them, but why the Detroit Lions might not be as good of an offense, and it is Jared Goff. I'm still not a believer in him. I still kind of really just see this as Ben Johnson and co providing him the weapons and the plays and all of that. He's not good against the pressure. Get some pressure on him. That's how we stop it. Otherwise, I really just see this being an absolute arms race of the game.
I'm going to go a little bit opposite of y'all. I think the reason why it's not going to be a shootout is I think their offense is really good. I agree with you, Spanky, 100%. Jared Goff, you put him under pressure, he's not going to perform well. I think this is going to be a David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs just run it down the Cowboys' throats and make us stop it. And I think they're going to do that for 4 quarters, 60 minutes, and we're going to be playing catch up. I think that they're going to not have the ball in Dak's hands. They will hold the ball for 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and they will just do a masterclass performance in holding the football. And it'll be like a 24-17, 24-20 type of game, in my opinion. I think that, but I could also see, like, I agree with y'all, it could be a 45-41 type game as well. But I think that Lions don't want that. I think they want it to be lower scoring, because if it's lower scoring, in my opinion, they win the football game. That means they ran the ball well, and their defense played good enough for them to win the football game. And I think this is a game where I don't care who's in the backfield, both of them can run off for 100 yards plus, easy. This defense has shown that they can't stop the run when you face a good running back, or even a mediocre running back. And they have 2 really good running backs. And I think Dave Montgomery is a bulldozer. He looks like a badass back there. That dark visor. He's been on my fantasy team all season. And so I've been watching him the whole time, and he's a stud. He knows how to hit those holes, and he'll run your ass over. He's going to run over Donovan Wilson at least 5 times this game. That's my opinion. But so I'm going to go in a little bit opposite direction of y'all and say that if they run the ball, which I think they will be able to, it's going to be a 24-17. We play catch up, and they hold the ball for 40 to 45 minutes.
Right. I like that. And I do like that analysis a lot. And I was trying to give him credit because I do think that he is a good quarterback. I'm not want to say
He
that
is.
that he's great, but I do agree with y'all's analysis. At the end of the day, there is a reason why the Rams had to get rid of him for Matthew Stafford to get over the hump to win the Super Bowl. Jared Goff is a cool dude. He seems like a really nice dude by all accounts, all interviews I've listened to, especially on Pardon My Take. Seems like a good dude, but I think I'm on the same page with these two. I think for them, especially with their big physical offensive line, like I said, one of the best units in football, and just with how good they are. And seeing how happy that locker room was, especially when Dan Campbell brought up like the guys that have been there for a while, and like finally going to get to experience going to the playoffs for the first time. Um, if you think that team is going to be satisfied with just making the playoffs and breaking the curse, you're dead wrong. This team or that team and led by that guy, Dan Campbell, who I know we all love, um, they are going to be hungry. They're going to be eager to prove a point and step on our throats. And it's going to start for them by just being physical. I mean, this guy Dan Campbell, if for people listening, if you didn't watch Hard Knocks last year, their whole thing, his whole mantra is grit. They are a gritty football team. They're the absolute like tough as nails definition of what you think of when you would think of like Detroit, Michigan football. They're tough, they're gritty, they're a run first team and they're damn good at it. And the only thing worse for this defense than facing a really good running back is facing two really good running backs. And as a guy who is a Jahmyr Gibbs owner in fantasy all season, he's awesome. He's absolutely electric every time he touches the ball. He's similar to Devon Achane of the Dolphins, who we faced last week, except I think he might not be as fast, but he might be a more overall dynamic player and just
Agreed.
better with the ball in his hands. Um, he's a lot of fun to watch. He's really shifty. He's quick. They line him up as a receiver sometimes, which is crazy. And then they have their big bruiser, which is a bad matchup for the Cowboys and our undersized linebackers. And something that we haven't even touched upon is that the Cowboys actually released Rashawn Evans yesterday. So as of right now, the only two linebackers on our roster is Damone Clark and Marquise Bell. So just something I don't know. It's just very concerning, especially with Stu. Just to kind of fill you in, we ragged a lot on our safety, specifically Donovan Wilson and Jaron Kearse, who just continue to have abysmal seasons. And yeah, this game could get ugly. This could be a game where it could either be a shootout and we just force Jared Goff to throw the ball 40, 50 times because he can and will do that. Like I think this past weekend, I think he had like over 50 pass attempts or something wild. Or it could be a game like you said where they just run the ball over and over and over and they tire out our defense, whether it's going inside and taking advantage, not having Hankins, or going outside. This game could get ugly, but yeah, I don't know. It'll be
Like you
really
said, I
interesting to
think
see.
it could be a Buffalo Bills game all over again, where
Mm-hmm.
what Josh Allen threw, however many times he threw, like 11 to 15. I don't remember the number of the stat, how many attempts he had.
I think he
But
only
I
had
could
like
see Jared Goff,
seven completions, I think.
yeah, 7
9.
completions and of that. Yeah. And I could see Jared Goff having the same exact number. Or like you said, he could throw the ball 40 to 45 times. It's whatever they want to do, honestly, because I think they have the ability to do whatever they want to do in this game. And our defense does not have the ability to stop whatever they want to do, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And what you're saying about Dan Campbell is perfect. He's an awesome coach. I wanted to say this is a hangover game. They just won the division last year. You can't say that week 16. You can't say that or week 17. You can't say that when you're playing the Dallas Cowboys, and you can't say that when you're facing a team like the Detroit Lions. Like you said, they have grit. They want to play every week. They love their head coach. They're going to play balls to the wall for him. I wanted to say so bad it could be a hangover week for him. There's just no way. Saturday night game, prime time, only game playing that night. They're going to come out firing all cylinders, and I really don't see how we can stop it. I really don't. They've made me believe that any offense that we face, we're going to be able to stop any offense. And I'm scared for this week, and I'm scared for wild card round. And y'all know my opinion on this team. I've said it. We're in a lose-lose situation. We're going to be a laughing stock of the NFL once again. It sucks. I mean, you win the wild card round on the road in the NFC South.
And
Who
it doesn't
cares?
matter. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. You're going to lose second week. But then you also have the ability to go and play Baker Mayfield and Rachaad White, who I have high respect for this year after watching him play. How are you going to stop that? Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, how are you going to stop that? Probably can't. So, like, at this point, it's just they need to prove to me, that defense, that they can stop somebody, and it's probably going to be Jacoby Brissett and the Commanders is what's going to happen. That's the only team you're stopping the rest of the season. It hurts. It sucks to say, but I may become a Detroit Lions fan once the playoffs start, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, if the Cowboys are, eliminated, the Lions are going to be the obvious,
Yeah.
the obvious backup plan, unless they, like, I don't know, like, have like a dirty tackle and like hurt Dak or Micah, then
Yeah.
it's like fuck them. But until that happens, love Dan Campbell. This game should be interesting. So with all that being said, we got to give our hot boys, and then
I'm gonna do my hot boy real quick, and then
okay,
yeah.
okay, real quick, Stu, give us your hot boy and your score prediction.
24-21.
We already have your cover zero. Okay.
Yeah, 24-21.
Who wins?
Detroit.
Oh,
Detroit.
wow.
I really think they're going to do what I said. I really think they're going to run the ball down our throats, and we're not going to be able to stop it at all. I think this is going to be David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Both have 100-plus rushing yards. And with that being said, I have no hot boy of the week. There will be no defensive player that does well.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Thanks, Stu. Love you, buddy.
Love you, boys. Peace.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. And you know what the funny thing is that I don't entirely disagree with him.
No.
That's the sad part. Obviously, for the sake of the show, I don't think we can just like have a group rebellion against picking or not picking hot boys this week. But needless to say, over the last couple of weeks, we've been ice cold on our cover zero takes, our hot boy picks, and our killer picks. We've been ice cold. We go as the Cowboys go. We predict good things to happen, and when they don't play good football, we don't get our predictions right. So kind of not a bold strategy by Clayton in saying that there won't be a hot boy. Thought that was pretty funny. And he actually made history for the first time in the history of this podcast, the short, like 29, 30 episode run life of this podcast. A member of our panel has actually picked against the Cowboys this week.
Yeah.
So we'll get to yours and mine score predictions momentarily, but I guess the field for hot boys is pretty much wide open. Stu didn't pick one, so or Stu respectfully declined a hot boy selection this week. So you've got free reign here.
Yeah. Unique one. Oh, sorry. But number 28 Malik Hooker is my hot boy of the week.
Damn
and for my just a little spoiler for my cover zero take, he ends up with a pick.
Okay. I love that. And I wanted to give Hook some more love just because of how good he's been, and he outside of 90 and 11, I think he might be and 26 and 21 usually. He might be the only
97.
and 97. Yeah. Might be the only player that I trust. He might be our only, and I'll actually save this for my cover zero, but I really like that pick. But my hot boy pick is gonna be, oh gosh. Well, dude, I don't know. Deron Bland, sure. And he gets a pick. Like, why not? Haven't predicted that in like a week or two. Sure. Deron Bland pick. I actually don't hate that. Now that I'm like, I'm talking myself into it. I just kind of threw that out there as a placeholder, but now I'm talking myself into it. Jared Goff at times can be very turnover prone. He's no stranger to a 3-4 interception game. But and Deron Bland is like a really bad matchup for him as a guy who likes to jump routes. The one thing that I do want to see this week, and I doubt we'll see it because Dan Quinn doesn't like to have our corners travel for whatever reason, but I would love if Deron Bland was to shadow Amon-Ra St. Brown and not put Stephon Gilmore on him because I don't love that matchup. We talked about it last week in our preview for the Dolphins game, but the Jalen Waddle Tyreek Hill was always just a terrible matchup for Stephon Gilmore. And I'm honestly a little bit nervous. Jameson Williams is kind of the same way, except he's very unpolished and not a great route runner. So, as long as Gilmore doesn't get just torched, I think he could probably put the clamps on Jameson Williams. But St. Brown could be a tough matchup. He's really shifty, probably a top 3 route runner in football. He's got great footwork, great hands, doesn't really drop anything ever. But it all could add up and being that Deron Bland gets a pick because, like I said, Jared Goff, no stranger to a high turnover game. So I'll say Deron Bland, number 26, and he gets interception number 9 this week, extending his strength on the NFL lead. But okay, last thing here before we get into cover zero and then wrap up, we got to do our score predictions. Stu, as I said, made history, became the first member of our podcast panel to actually predict us to lose a game. So now, and I see you kind of smiling here. I'm curious to see what your prediction is.
33-31. Dallas Cowboys, baby.
Okay.
Dallas
Okay.
Cowboys.
Okay. You had me for a second. You had me in the first half, not gonna lie. But okay, score prediction. 33-31. I like that. 33-31 Cowboys, 24-21 Detroit. I'll split the middle and say 28-24 Cowboys win. No, sorry, we're gonna have a field goal. Sorry, 31-28 Cowboys win. Could be a Brandon Aubrey game winner. Could not be. Don't really know. If we lose this game, it's kind of the feeling that we had last week and the week before. I'm not going to be surprised anymore if we lose this game. I'll only be surprised because we're at home and we're the Dallas Cowboys when we're at home and when we're on the road, where like the Cowboys of Dallas subdivision. I don't even know what I was trying to say there. But this team is different on the road, but we don't have to worry about that this week. We don't have to really worry about a serious road game for another 2 weeks pretty much 2.5 weeks till we get to the wild card round. But okay, last thing here before we wrap up, cover zero takes. Stu already gave his, which was yours, and that CeeDee Lamb is going to break the franchise record this week. I believe it's receptions. I think he's like 4 behind Michael Irvin for a single season.
Yeah.
And then I know yards, he still has like 100 and like 160 or something like that. So could easily break that within the last 2 weeks. But what is your cover zero take, David?
Micah Parsons gets an early holding call called on him, so we stopped talking about his the lack of holding calls called on him, and that is my only cover zero take this week.
Okay, I like that. So Micah Parsons, the refs hear the noise and finally succumb and give Micah Parsons a holding call. I like it.
Awesome.
And early on in the game too. Okay. Already got Stu's, which is that CeeDee Lamb breaks the franchise record for single season receptions. I believe he meant receptions. I don't know if he meant yards. I don't know if you caught that. Maybe I missed it. I'm assuming he meant receptions.
I don't know what he said either.
Okay. Well, breaking some sort of franchise record this week, CeeDee Lamb. My cover zero take is going to be, and this is one that I feel like it's been kind of building up, and it's not even about the game, but just about the team in general. Malik Hooker is the best defensive back on the Dallas Cowboys. I'm saying that right now over Deron Bland and over Stephon Gilmore. He's the most reliable player that we have in the secondary, and he's the most consistent, and he's just been the best overall DB on this team as it stands right now. So shout out to Malik Hooker, fully giving you your flowers. You deserve them, and you're the best defensive back on the Dallas Cowboys. So add that to the resume. But okay, this was a long episode. Talked about a lot of things. Had to talk about the loss to the Dolphins and whether or not the Dallas Cowboys are frauds. We're kind of leaning yes, but you never know. Could be back in this week. Spanky, real quick, I know that just because we've been very doom and gloom this episode, there was something that you told me on Xbox last night, and I wanted you to say it on the pod. But if we win this week or this Saturday against the Detroit Lions, are you back in on the 2023 Dallas Cowboys?
I am so fucking back if we win. I'm so fucking back.
Okay. So there you have it. If the Cowboys win this weekend, David Spangler officially back in, which ultimately is probably just going to make it a lot more painful in like 3 weeks, but that's a bridge to cross when we get there. But for now, as always, thank you guys so much for joining us today. And please go listen to us. We're available to listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Goodness. And then please follow our socials, our X and TikTok at Dallas BC Pod, Instagram at Dallas BC Podcast. Email us for any inquiries or sponsorship opportunities, podcastdbc@gmail.com. And something else that I actually wanted to unveil just while we're here. We've recently, I know I alluded to it, and that we were going to be having some stuff going on that we're working on, and it's finally done. It's not a completely finished product, but I just wanted to kind of show you guys, so I'll show it off right now. We do now have a official website that's up, so I'm showing it on the screen here, but it's going to be DallasBallersClub.com. And this is going to be a site that's probably going to be used a lot more in the off season. We're going to be trying to begin with some blogs. And then as we get closer to draft season, we're going to be doing some mock drafts and some player rankings, maybe some big board rankings, just some things that me, David, and Clayton are going to have just open and available for y'all's viewing pleasure. And, if you guys have any questions or anything to be able to engage with us on our social medias. All of our links are on the website as well. And if you guys want to read a little bit more about us and learn a little bit more about who we are, there's a section for that as well. We're working on getting photos in. This website is basically very much a rough draft of, kind of what we want this to be. But we're going to be updating it. And so hopefully you guys can go visit it and check it out. Once again, that's DallasBallersClub.com. And until next week, we're gonna have to figure out our upload schedule. I'll actually be on vacation next week until next Friday, so we'll have to figure out what we're doing next week. But just stay tuned. Check out the website. Be monitoring our social medias for whenever that next episode comes out. But until then, this is Bennett and David and Stu when he was here. So I guess you guys got the full crew today. So this is the Dallas Ballers Club signing off, and hopefully when we make our next episode, actually I guess it'll be next year, 2024. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. This is our last episode of 2023, our inaugural year. So thank you guys for listening today, and we'll see you guys hopefully after a Dallas Cowboys victory and in the new year.
Boom.